On the third anniversary of the military terrorist attack in Olenivka, Russian occupiers committed an equally horrific crime. During the night of July 28th to 29th, they carried out an airstrike on the Bilenkivska correctional colony in the Zaporizhzhia region. As a result of this war crime, 17 people were killed and 83 more were injured. Civilian infrastructure was destroyed and damaged.
Strikes on correctional colonies are officially considered war crimes. They are prohibited under international documents that have been ratified, including by the Russian Federation. In my opinion, this was a deliberate strike on the correctional colony, timed to coincide with the anniversary of the terrorist attack in Olenivka. We can say that this was a demonstrative episode of war crimes by the Russian Federation, and it was primarily aimed at Ukraine's Western partners.
There were also strikes on Russia that night. On the night of July 29th, the city of Salsk in the Rostov region was attacked by drones. Local residents reported a large fire near the railway infrastructure.
Thus, the significant possibility of effectively redeploying essential personnel, substantial heavy armored vehicles, and vital fuel and lubricants by rail is consequently and completely nullified.
Unknown drones were detected in temporarily occupied Donetsk. Local social media channels report dozens of UAVs. It is possible that a railway junction was attacked and a substation on the outskirts of Makivka was also on fire. This year, 2 out of the 5 divisions that the Russian dictator has dreamed of creating since December 2022 will see the light of day. According to Putin, as a result, the strike power and combat capabilities of the fleet will increase significantly, capabilities that GUR fighters are already prepared to destroy. They showed footage of an FPV drone being used in open sea. But what the Russian fleet is really capable of is provoking incidents on the territory of other countries. The main headquarters of Estonia's defense forces stated that a Russian border guard ship entered the country's territorial waters without permission and remained there for 35 minutes. The incident occurred on July 26th.
The point is that according to Estonia's State Borders Act, a foreign military vessel is allowed to pass through the country's territorial waters if it is making an innocent passage. But there is one condition. It is necessary to notify Estonia's Ministry of Foreign Affairs 48 hours in advance. The Russian border guard ship did not do this. This indicates a demonstrative attempt by the Russian Federation to violate the territorial waters of this state.
The Russian occupation army does not cease its attempts to capture the cities of Pokrovsk and Mirnohrad, but in reality they are slowing down after encountering a worthy response from the Ukrainian armed forces.
The occupiers are trying to use the so-called small cauldrons tactic, meaning flanking maneuvers against the positions of Ukraine's defense forces with the threat of creating an operational encirclement. The goal is to force the Ukrainian defense units out of their positions in Pokrovsk and accordingly in Mirnohrad and Drushkivka. Currently, Russian troops have intensified their offensive along the flanks. First and foremost, this refers to the penetration of Russian forces between Pokrovsk and Kostiantynivka, with the main direction of movement toward Mirnohrad.
Things are also unsettled in Belarus, a country friendly to Putin. There, a drone was shot down right over the capital, Minsk. After the incident, the Belarusian regime announced that it was taking measures to strengthen control over its airspace. Meanwhile, Kim Jong-un has volunteered to help Putin continue the war. The Korean dictator may send additional troops to Russia as early as August this year. In exchange for strengthening the Russian army, North Korea is receiving satellite launch and missile guidance technologies from Moscow.
The countdown has begun. US President Trump has issued a new ultimatum to the Kremlin.
I will set a new deadline. About 10 or 12 days. There's no reason to wait. It was 50 days. I wanted to be generous, but we just aren't seeing any progress.
The American leader also emphasized that he is no longer interested in talking with the Kremlin dictator Putin.
I'm not really interested in talking anymore. We used to have such pleasant conversations, such respectful and good conversations. And then the next night, people die from missiles flying into cities.
Trump sets deadlines instantly and single-handedly. And by doing this, he shows that he supposedly controls the situation and he directs Putin toward a certain period of decisions, a certain format of decisions. Nevertheless, this actually indicates that Trump clearly understands that Putin is not going to pursue a real peaceful settlement, but rather a fake, imitative one, as he is demonstrating now.
If Russia refuses to sign a peace agreement with Ukraine, the United States may impose secondary sanctions against Moscow.
Well, obviously, the The United States' toolkit is threefold. First, it's the provision of enhanced military aid to Ukraine. Second, it's the imposition of secondary sanctions against countries, companies and business entities from countries that help Russia circumvent sanctions. These are first and foremost the United Arab Emirates, Turkey, China, India, and Kazakhstan. And this could also mean an embargo on Russian goods.
Such news simply drove Dmitry Medvedev into a frenzy, and he began threatening the US with war.
Trump is playing a game of ultimatums with Russia, 50 days or 10. He should remember two things. Russia is not Israel and not even Iran. Every new ultimatum is a threat and a step toward war. Not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't repeat the path of Sleepy Joe.
Medvedev is exclusively released into the broader public space primarily to set some kind of significant media agenda, often with a specific purpose in mind. But the real response there, Russia's real response, the official position of the Russian Federation, is shaped based on Putin's line of conduct. It is in no way connected to what Medvedev says or thinks. It's just for fun, to stir up some media noise.
Lavrov, the horse-headed one, also made some loud statements. He stated that Russia has a complete lack of allies. Well, who would have doubted it? He claims his country is fighting alone against the entire West.
Lavrov's primary task, together with Zakharova, is to carefully create some kind of comprehensive informational picture, and with his consistently unprofessional actions, to effectively accompany the general Kremlin line.
But while Putin's servants are playing to the audience, Azerbaijan has started supplying gas to Ukraine. We're talking about small volumes, but as noted in the oil and gas sector, this is a strategic step toward expanding cooperation.
It was difficult for Ukrainian diplomacy to break through the barrier in Ukrainian-Azerbaijani relations that had formed during Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and it's clear that Azerbaijan, with its foreign policy line, aims for balance and, understandably, for a long time did not want to have any kind of conflict or misunderstandings with the Russian Federation. However, the grave situation concerning the tragic deaths of passengers on the Azal airline flight and the escalating tension regarding the perceived repression of Azerbaijani citizens residing in Russia have undoubtedly and significantly changed the Azerbaijani leadership's fundamental perception of Russia's true and underlying attitude toward Baku.
And finally, some shocking news. The Kremlin dictator has appeared before the people. On Sunday in St. Petersburg, Putin stopped his limousine and went out to meet Russians on the streets. This happened for the first time since October of last year.
Of course, we fully understand that this entire situation is all a very meticulously well-staged theatrical event involving a truly huge number of dedicated security service agents who diligently ensure both comprehensive security and the precisely desired behavior of the assembled people, as well as strategically planted individuals who convincingly pretend to be ordinary, everyday Russians, supposedly absolutely overjoyed and genuinely ecstatic at seeing the Tsar, in quotation marks, of course. So this is a typical PR strategy.
Well, then we can probably expect Putin's next appearance among the people in about a year.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism, and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine Today. Join us now.